But then we've had a lot of conservatives this week who've been criticizing us, saying, well, sure, it was entertaining, but really, how constructive was it? I read somebody writing that.
I'll tell you what, as someone who would support everything that you'd be supporting legislatively, and as someone who was over there, you shut down much more dialogue than you create. As a matter of fact, you make it much more difficult to have a dialogue that's civil with people. And there's nothing that you would be supporting legislatively that I wouldn't support. I'm as Christian, as conservative as they come.
Give your story like we talked about, make your joke, say you can call me anything you want, just not Windows 2000, and then end it with, I'm also a raging.
But over there, those people, was just a big cackle fest, and everyone was angry and cussing. Yes. So this comes out, their response is to cuss you out. It doesn't create a dialogue. It shuts it down before.
It was entertaining, but was it constructive to send in Sven Computer to the gender nonconforming? It was entertaining, but was it constructive? You just answered your own damn question.
The point. You missed it.
Was it exactly? Was it entertaining? That's the point. He's a bully. He only picks fights that he knows he can win, with Chris Wallace or with you guys, and not that you're too weak to defend yourselves, but the second you fire a shot back over the bow, well, guess what? He's a comedian now, puts on his comedian hat and makes a wiener joke. It's a moving target that you can't hit. You can't win the fight. That's the only reason he engages. You're talking, by the way, to the creators of Change My Mind, where millions upon millions of plays of nothing more than me sitting down with a stool in enemy territory, being bombarded and trying to be as constructive as humanly possible. And by the way, this is a late night show. Do you think anyone has ever asked? I don't know how constructive it is for Carson to do the Zoltar bit. But the second you fire a shot back over the bow, well, guess what? He's a comedian now, puts on his comedian hat and makes a wiener joke. It's a moving target that you can't hit. You can't win the fight. That's the only reason he engages.
You've been talking about abortion over there just today? They weren't talking about abortion. They were talking about what assholes you were. Those were their words.
Oh. You know, we don't want to be constructive all the time.
There's a strategy that needs to be used. Put it this way, if you were in a war, you lose.
And I'll leave you with this. My favorite verse for whatever it is that you're going through is Psalm 144. I'm going to go King James because I'm going old school and I think it has more effect. It's, blessed be the Lord my strength, who teacheth my hands to war and my fingers to fight. And I'm not in war. I do not compare it to what soldiers go through. And the war's about to start. But then we've had a lot of conservatives this week who've been criticizing us, saying, well, sure, it was entertaining, but really, how constructive was it? I read somebody writing that.
But the thing is, you can't do that if you start with this, because their blinders are on. They can't hear you. And at a certain point, you guys have to decide: are you interested in being a lightning rod and doing your thing? Are you interested in winning the country? Well, this isn't it.
So that is what I wanted to ask. That's what I wanted to ask you all. Like, if this is the thing that we're not supposed to do, because it's actually an effect. Well, I mean, like, when in the terms of order of events, best strategy, like, this is not the place to do it. This is not the way to do it. Well, what is the way to do it?
Okay. Well, there are a few different ways. First off, you need to know your audience. You need to know who you're dealing with.
Okay. I would say my audience is sinners in need of the gospel and repentance. You would say.
Well, that's all. Because even if that's the case, I can't think of a worse way to reach them than this.
I think that's funny about that when it comes to the left. Usually the left is guilty of trying to force reality to be what they want it to be. And this is one area where conservatives tend to do that more so when it comes to the way it's all about the message to them, and they don't consider the medium.
Yeah, but you're more concerned with the reaction, the sign, than like you can actually use this to talk to them about the gospel.
I can't think of a worse way to introduce the gospel. See, it's not necessarily what you say, it's what people hear. Right. And when people hear that, they immediately shut off.